here on how to be kind and helpful within our Zoom. What I wanted to show here were some snapshots of us being social on social media. Our hashtag is MSASD, Magnolia Science Academy San Diego. On a roll, sounds like honor roll also, kind of funny and punny. And these are some images that I pulled from Instagram, Snapchat, what was the other one? Flipgrid, and Padlet. Just to be aware, we are also still awarding Kickboard points for positive behaviors or cool posts or sharing or helping each other out on Google Classroom. So be mindful of that. And if you want to get some extra points, you can help each other out there, post some cool things online. NitroType and Google Classroom are other places that you can catch up with us. My handle is Mrs. Watkins STEM. I don't know, do you have a NitroType, Mrs. White?
No, but my kid has.
Cool. Maybe he can come join on our team too. We can race.
I know, right?
All right. Cool. Just clicking through. Our week at a glance here, like you see on the Magnolia WAG or the week at a glance. We are in week 2. Today is Wednesday. We did the video posts. We had our ed puzzle. Hopefully you either finished that or are still working on that. Today is our Zoom session. We're doing our lecture and our review. We're going to try a Kahoot together today. Tomorrow is your quizzes, and then on Friday you have your choice of additional activity that you want to do. Everything's due on Monday at 8 a.m. and then we just follow the same pattern of 1 task per week. Special note there for Mrs. White's section.
Say again.
Special note for Mrs. White's section.
Yes, for my students who's here, the only assignments that you guys have is the lab, physical and chemical changes in the lab. So please remember to hit submit. And then, of course, quizzes, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Yep, we don't have the Sci-Fun Fridays for this week, but we will do that next week. But we want to focus on the lab.
All right. So again, we're going over our lecture and then our Kahoot. So, getting this started, physical and chemical changes, right? Similar, but not the same. So we're going to learn a little bit about things that distinguish them and how we can tell, and then provide some examples and then test our knowledge with the Kahoot at the end. So thanks, Gio. Let's get right to it. Essential questions for today. What is the difference between physical and chemical changes? So again, similar but not the same. So what distinguishes them? And then how does evidence of a chemical reaction indicate that a new substance with different properties is formed? Okay, so again, with chemical reactions, sometimes things change and make new things, sometimes they don't. So we want to be aware of what is happening. And if a new substance is formed, helpful hint, it is a chemical change. All right, so here our question for our engaged video. What's the difference between physical and chemical change? And I should be able to just push the button. Okay. Thank you for watching and that new beatbox in my head. All right, awesome. Let's keep on going. Physical and chemical changes. So again, with the paper, if it's the same form afterwards, it's the same. But if it actually changes into a new substance, that's the chemical change. So here we go. Physical changes can change the form or appearance of a substance. Oops, there you go. Form or appearance of a substance. It does not change the substance into anything new. It might change the form, but it doesn't turn into a new substance. Example, whipping eggs. If you whip eggs, the eggs are still eggs. So it went from being an egg inside of an eggshell to then they're whipping the white into like a mascarpone sauce maybe. Boiling water, water is still water, changes form to vapor. Dissolving sugar, so the sugar is still sugar, it's just no longer solid, it's now liquid. And then dicing vegetables, right? When you dice vegetables, they talk about cutting against the grain or with the grain. Does anybody else have the problem where when you cut onions, you start to cry? Because that happens to me all the time. All right, hopefully not for you guys. Next slide. Physical changes, examples can be changing the state of matter, like we said. In our 3 states of matter, we have solid. The particles are really tightly packed together, but they're still moving. Liquid, right? They're moving a little bit more freely to the shape of the container. Gas, and moving around a lot faster. The quickest phase, or the most energy high and efficient phase, is, anybody remember? Want to type that in? Most abundant phase in the universe. However, it's not the most abundant phase on our planet. And I see plasma. Very good. Temperature and shape change also. Going here, chemical reactions. With our chemical reactions here, they occur when 2 or more molecules are interacting and the molecules change into a new substance. The bonds are both being made and or broken, which is how it forms that new substance. Now we're going to go over a couple examples of chemical change. When 2 or more substances join to form a new substance, they have new properties. Examples, iron rusting, gas burning, eggs cooking, and bread rising. So notice the egg, when it was whipped, changed form, but it was still an egg, but it didn't have entirely new properties. But here it's changing from liquid to solid, and it now has different properties reacting with that oil. Chemical changes, unexpected color change. Sometimes colors can change in a physical property example, but when they change unexpectedly when 2 things react, that's usually a signification of a chemical change. New molecules are created in a chemical reaction that radiate light differently, producing new colors. For example, fireworks or leaves when they change color, right?
Yeah, and for the fireworks, if you've been to Disneyland or SeaWorld, these fireworks, the reason why they emit different colors is basically because of the different elements that they use to burn in there. So there's a certain element. So homework, find out why is it that there are some parts of your fireworks that is green, blue, white, and so on. What is that substance or element that produces that color?
Cool. I see a hand. Aiden? Hello?
Yes, Aiden?
I was wondering, how do fireworks change color after, so like they explode, they're one color, and then how do they change to another color while they're still in the air?
That's what we're talking about. The chemicals, like Mrs. White was mentioning, there's multiple chemicals packed inside, and as they are getting ignited, then they change color. So what's another good example? If you had, do you know the Fun Dip? You know how there's red Fun Dip and blue Fun Dip, right? But if you put both of them in your mouth, they would change to purple, right? Or part of your tongue might be red and part of your tongue might be blue, but the part where they interact, it might be purple. In a firework example, like Mrs. White was sharing, there are actually different chemicals. And so when they all ignite, they have different colors when they burn.
Colors and produce different colors. So that is your chemical change happening.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Thank you, Aiden.
Another change, like we said, regular temperature change, as in phase changing for matter, is a normal physical change. But when it's unexpected, that's, again, something's reacting. And there's either an endothermic, it's coming in, or an exothermic, giving out. We'll talk more about that in the weeks to come. But here, during chemical bonding, energy is released or absorbed, making their surroundings hotter or cooler. Examples: adding baking soda to vinegar, causing a temperature to decrease. And if you've ever done baking soda and vinegar, the volcano body temperature also increases to fight infections, right? That's when you're getting sick. It's because your body is raising its temperature so that your cells can still handle it, but the invading bacteria usually cannot. So then that's how you get better. It kills the bacteria. Very good. Combustion and burning. A chemical reaction between substances usually includes oxygen, accompanied by giving off heat or light. This can be a permanent change that cannot be undone. So, for example, wood burning, candle burning, or rusting. And that was the example both in the video that we watched at the beginning of this little section, and then also one of the videos from Monday, if you chose to watch those. Next one, precipitate or precipitate. Forms when a solid suddenly appears in a solution and it settles to the bottom and it starts to collect on another object, or the solution is made cloudy. So your substance is here, but then something ends up happening so that something forms at the bottom. Chunks start to get in it. If you've ever let milk sour, hopefully you have not, and then hopefully you have not accidentally maybe opened it or started to drink it, because you'll notice it is no longer liquid, but it has some solid pieces of chunks and it starts to curdle. And that's where we get sour cream and cheese curds and cottage cheese and all those kind of other interesting substances and tastes. And then bathtub rings. That's an interesting one. So the soap suds and dirt and everything will start to build up and stay. Not good. All right, last fun one. Bubbles forming. When gases are produced in a chemical reaction occurs and then the gas is released. So here we have Alka-Seltzer tablets. Bubbles are released when vinegar and baking soda are combined. So again, like our volcano. And the Alka-Seltzer, that helps you to fight the indigestion when your stomach hurts, right? When your stomach hurts, you either drink ginger ale or you drink a lot of water or you drink something that has, it's usually the bubbles inside of it, so that way it lowers the pH in your stomach so you don't get acid reflux to start to throw up, or it helps to calm down your stomach and neutralize the acids in there so it won't be upset and cause you to feel bad anymore. All right, that is that. I think this is the last part here. I want you guys to think. I'm going to have Mrs. White take over right here as we think about and maybe share out a couple people of real world examples or any cases that you've experienced recently of either a physical or a chemical change, and I will set up our Kahoot.
All right, guys. So while Mrs. Watkins is sharing and setting up our Kahoot, if you could just type down privately so I can see your answers, kind of like what physical or chemical change have you seen lately? Pretty much chemical change. We'll focus on the chemical change, but if you can think of physical change, just type it down on your chat screen. Now, the chat screen is recorded, so it's gonna be for you. It comes from you. So I have burning a log from Andreas. Scott says pancake batter to a pancake. That's correct, you guys. Baking cookies is an example. Great, Amy. I have a burning log. Great. Anyone else? Keep going. Just think about your answer, and then when you're ready, just type it down in here. The proto-putty, cooking an egg. Yes, that's correct. Anyone else? Annika says making pancakes. The question, Raphael, is think about a chemical reaction or chemical change that you may have seen in real life. Digesting food. That's good, Aiden. Luca says baking cookies. Digesting food earlier. Boiling water is a physical or chemical change. That is our physical change. Explosion. Connor, Nevada. That's correct.
Great.
Ice
As
melting.
you are still typing in your responses, and as Ms. White's still calling them out for us, you can open up another tab. Now you want to do our split screen.
Yes.
And
So
go to
once you're done answering on your chat box, Mrs. Watkins, like she mentioned, you can split your screen and we're going to play Kahoot. All right? So whenever you guys are ready. If you have a phone, you can also use your phone to play the Kahoot if you have your app. That would make things a lot easier.
The website too.
Yep.
Go straight to your web browser.
I think, yeah, web browser in your phone. Yes, that's right. Jonas A, you said, would that count? What does that mean? Did you put your answer earlier, Jonas? A rock in a hydrochloric acid. Now, that happens if there is something in the surface of your rock that causes it to react. So hydrochloric acid rocks, there are some parts in the rocks, probably minerals, that will react to your hydrochloric acid and causes a chemical reaction.
Yeah, and just with the naming profiles, again, that's something that our school has asked us to do to make sure things are consistent, but also so that we can help account for credit for you coming to participate and hang out with us.
Yep.
So just type as much as your name as possible. If it doesn't fit all the way in there, that's okay.
Yes, so far, Mrs. Watkins, once the recording is over, their participation on their chat box is going to be saved, so we have their names in.
Okay. Well, as we're all getting into Kahoot, I'll show the last couple of slides, and then we can get to Kahoot. So here again, physical and chemical change is substance 1 plus substance 2. Is it still the same substance? Substance 1 is changes, but it's still substance 1. Or do you have two substances and when they combine, it makes a new substance? A chemical change. Does something happen to the substance and it's no longer substance 1? It becomes a different substance. We have our office hours on Friday at 12:30 if you're interested to come and ask any questions or comments or help with homework or anything of any of the assignments. We played Quizlet Live last Friday. It's 10:30. It was pretty fun, so we'll see if we can try that again. And then our 3 little red boxes there as we're finishing up our Kahoot. Daily attendance, make sure you sign into Google Classroom, the global one. Mark is done for all of your assignments. If there's something wrong with it, we'll send you a private message so you can fix it and resubmit it so that you can get that full credit for each assignment. And then just plan your time. Take your time. You don't want to wait until the last minute. Do a little bit each day and space it out. Hopefully the workload is manageable for you and you've gotten into a kind of a groove during this new situation of distance learning that we have here. And then those 2 little reminders are Wednesdays at 10 and Fridays at 12:30.
Mrs. Watkins, there's a question here from Lucy. She said that Kahoot will lag if there's like more than 35 people. Maybe we can just try it for right now.
Okay, yeah.
Should we start?
Right. I will start, yeah. Let me go ahead and make sure I can share the screen. Uh-oh, the first question might be a little off because my screen is not shared. There you go. So the question is, what type of change has taken place when glass breaks? Is the glass still glass?
got 56 people
I know.
already answering.
Pretty good. How did we go? Very good. Remember, the glass is still glass, so it is a physical change.
For those who might not be able to join in, you can just write your answer down on the chat box.
To follow along.
Yes.
What type of change is sublimation? Remember, solid to what? It's going solid to, type that in the chat too if you know. Solid to gas.
Yes, it's a physical change.
All right. Next. What type of change is baking a cake? This example was shared a couple different times. Wow, you guys got that one fast. Okay. Both physical and chemical.
Wow, Luca and Tassie.
Technically. Good
Top
job,
one.
Luca.
Cool.
Iron. So 2 different
People
substances.
are typing so fast. Yes.
Okay.
Seconds. Ooh, everybody's in.
I think so. Or we're just randomly pushing buttons. Try to make sure you think before you push your selection. As you're noticing, there's only 2 choices, physical and chemical. Try to get it right. Try to learn from your from our lesson. Try to remember the videos that we've watched. And as you're reading these examples, see if we can go for 100. Mixing together with water and something is happening. Very good. Going through.
Mrs. Watkins, is the time pretty fast?
It should be 30 seconds for each one.
Because it seems like it's kind of fast. Because some students says that it's doing fast.
Okay. Yeah, it's 20 seconds for each slide. What looks like is happening is that people are clicking too fast. And it looks like it's stopping after that. Or maybe this might be a factor of having multiple people on it. I'm not sure.
I'm not so sure. The time is kind of fast, so that's why I'm like, what?
So again, you can see the countdown clock on the left-hand side, but like that's not our 60 people, so I'm not sure why it didn't click through.
Okay, Aiden. Top one. Way to go. Oh, that was fast.
Okay, so then now what I'm wondering is if people are just auto-clicking or if it's something wrong with the Kahoot side. But
yeah, let's keep going. Let's just in case you won't be able to catch up, I think it has to do with like who's the first number of people.
well, let's see. Let's just stop it after here. It seems like we're getting a little frustrated and sad that it's not working right. Yeah, I see some people.
I know, right? I'm sorry for those who are not able to answer. We'll have
the first 10 questions. All right.
And guys, if for you guys, I think Mrs. Watkins. Okay, so we'll set that up and then we'll get going.
But I think that is it. Thank you for checking out our final reviews and reminders here. Remember the biggest one, daily attendance on our global Google Classroom. Thanks for joining us for our live session. Hope to see you Friday if you have any questions or comments. Otherwise, we're available on Google Classroom. And if you have any questions about your assignments, you can chat with us there. Just wanted to give a shout out to Aiden, Abby, Luca, and Tazi. Yay for winning our Kahoot. If you'd like to practice more on the Kahoots, you can check on Google Classroom for the codes and get your review of content in a fun and interesting way there. Last but not least, our final reminder slide, our Size 7 Live, which you just joined us for or are watching now, and then our Size 7 office hours at 12:30 on Fridays. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you next week for Watkins and White.